Today, very excited to show you the Convoy T3 in titanium. And I don't have a whole lot of these AA/14500 cell flashlights. And the reason why is when I started collecting lights again about a year ago, I never even considered getting a light like this with these smaller form batteries. I saw that 21700 cell, which I'd never had a chance to deal with before because I'd been just out of the whole flashlight game for a while, and I thought, geez, that's amazing. It's got that sustained output. Most of the brighter flashlights use them. So it's funny that I finally come full circle again and really appreciating the versatility of these smaller AA style lights. It's not all just about the lumen output. And the T3 is one of the nicest looking AA lights out there. Doesn't cost a fortune and has excellent construction quality. Convoy were kind enough to send me a free sample of the T3 for me to review it in this video. So basically in the box, you don't get too much. It's just pretty much the same with all Convoy flashlights. In this case, you get the T3 and you also get a lanyard. You can select to have a battery included as well with some of the listings. So I've just basically gone with the version without a cell in there, and I've used my own. Here's a quick comparison of the T3 with a few of my other AA/14500 cell flashlights, and easily I can tell it's the largest out of the four. Okay, but I'd say it's going to be the most durable. If I was to throw all of these off a building and bet on one of them to survive, I'm going to say it'd be the T3. It's just made of titanium. It's solid. The walls are thicker than the others as well. And there's no sort of fancy parts on it as well, like the end of this O-light diffuse. There's a little interesting little tail cap design. Okay, with the ace beam, it is thinner. The metal is thinner, but it's a lot smaller. So there's always trade-offs, and yeah. Another thing you want to show you as well is just underneath the bezel. Can't tell stand the ace beam, but the bezel here is a lot larger on the T3, which means that it able to throw further than all the other AA lights here. So yeah, it is bigger, but again, you're going to get some better long range performance than all these others. So here's a little close up of the Convoy T3, and as you can see, the machining is absolutely flawless. No sharp edges or imperfections on the light. I love the design. It's so simple. Even the battery tube here, this knurling with the patterns running diagonally as well, I thought were quite interesting. Okay, and this is made of titanium. If you've got there is the aluminium version as well. I preferred the titanium one because it just looks a bit better. Like if you end up dropping the light, you don't get little chunks of the metal showing through. Kind of just adds to the overall character of the light itself. The clip, I believe, is also made of titanium. It's just so rigid. I'm pretty sure it has to be made of titanium or some high tensile steel at least. And I got the version here with the smooth finish, the polished finish, but you can also get the stonewash version as well, which tends to be quite popular with enthusiasts. And again, that one, especially if you're going to drop it, it's going to look like it's in a lot better nick than if you drop this one. These scratches will show up more easily on the body. And like I mentioned, this is the version here with the CSLNM1.TG, the white CSLNM1 emitter. And it was released fairly recently. You can get other LEDs in this light, including the SST20. You can get the Chia 519A. And, smooth reflector as well, which is going to really increase the amount of throw, get out of this light. Simple bezel design. You can unscrew the bezel and get into the light as well, which is one big advantage of Convoy flashlights. You don't need any special tools, just some pliers, maybe a screwdriver, and that's pretty much it. Another thing I really love about this light is the tail switch, also made of titanium, so it's congruent with the rest of the body. Just gives it that really classy, premium look. Okay, If I had one of those rubber boots on the back, it just wouldn't have the same feeling, and makes a nice little click. Doesn't light up, which is something I like as well, because there's some parasitic drain. If you're using the 14500 cell, the lights will be able to run at 1.5 amps max on 100%. Otherwise, with the normal AA cell, you'll get 0.5 amps, which is definitely reduced brightness there. Okay, so I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests, and you can see here I've got the T3 on the 100% mode, and really impressive. It lasts on 100% for 3 minutes before stepping down. So by just after the 4-minute mark, you can see it step down to 40%. But something very interesting happens at 6 minutes. It starts going up again, and it goes to 50%. So it must be hot and just go down, and then it starts stepping up again and able to maintain that 50% without overheating, which I think is pretty good. I mean, a 50% step down, and of course the 3-minute on the 100% mode is again very impressive. You don't get that on many flashlights. Here's a second ceiling bounce test I ran. This is on the 30% mode, and just basically held its output at 100% the entire duration of the test for 16 minutes. I think that's the mode that you use 90% of the time if you're doing some work, or if you're outside and you're going for a walk. You're not going to have that thing blasting at 100% the entire time. And also with that 14500 cell in there, it's not going to last very long if you've got it on 100%. So here are a bunch of tests I ran with my Opal Lightmaster Pro, and you can see here 100%. That's the stat you want to look at. 260 meters of throw. I mean, that is super impressive for such a small bezel like this, something that just basically fits in your coin pocket. I mean, that's just so impressive. I don't know any other AA flashlight that's able to do that with a bezel this small. CRI ranged from 69 to 75, so it's not the highest, but again, the NM1 is more of a LED for visibility. You've basically got the CCT starting from 5,700 all the way to 6,700, so it just becomes cooler as you step up through the modes. So the light doesn't produce a whole lot of spill until you enter into the higher modes. Most of the light, the beam patterns, mostly concentrated in the center of the beam. So I just want to go through a quick demonstration of the UI, and I'm not going to go through all the different mode groupings in here. I'm just going to show you basically how the light switched on and how you cycle through modes. So switch on the back, press it all the way down to turn on the light. Okay, there's no momentary mode. Once the light is on, you half press and then you can cycle through it. So at the moment I've set the light to the mode grouping with 1%, 10%, 30% and 100% outputs. There are another 11 modes that you can select in there. Basically, you switch the light on and you press that back button 20 times, and then it blinks out the modes and you can select it. I'm not going to go through that because you can find that very easily on online, and I've talked about it in previous videos already. You can also switch on and off the mode memory if you want. So some considerations you might want to be aware of before getting the T3. The threads are a bit scratchy, and yeah, that's something that I've noticed with a lot of titanium flashlights, and it doesn't affect the performance of the light in any way, but it's just something that you'll notice. And with titanium, you've just got a super high rigidity material in there as well, so you don't ever have to worry about stripping your threads again, okay, even though it is a little bit scratchy. Second thing, shorter run times as well on 100% due to that 14500 cell, and it only runs at 1.5 amps, and that's going to help a little bit. But you know, if you're running this thing at 5 amps on that 14500 cell, you're really going to get very little runtime on 100%, and it's going to be too hot anyway in a small host like this. And the third consideration is, yeah, it doesn't come with onboard charging, and there's no accessories. This kind of thing is more of like an enthusiast flashlight, but at the same time, like if you're an average person just looking for a flashlight around the house or a very throwy flashlight, you can just chuck a AA cell in there, a nickel metal hydride, You can also purchase a 14500 cell. I recommend that because that's where you get the performance, the extra performance, the amazing sort of throw out of this light. Okay, I've just used one from another light that I have, and it has a USB-C charging port on there. So, you know, otherwise the option is just to get a 14500 cell without the port, and you'll have to buy an additional charger. But again, those are not deal breakers. And these days I actually prefer lights that don't have a USB port on them. It just decreases the chance of me getting any water or dust inside the flashlight or damaging it somehow by dropping it onto the charging port. Overall, this is an awesome little pocket thrower, and it's probably one of the best value ones out there. It looks great and has fantastic performance as well. It reminds me a little of those titanium Raylight flashlights. I've got the Pineapple Mini myself, and the quality is just as good. Part of me wishes that I got the Stonewash version. It just has a different aesthetic, a bit more low-key, maybe for the next time. If you're interested, check out the link in the description. I've put links there to Simon's store as well as Amazon if you want to get one of these. If you have questions as well, just let me know down below in the comments and I'll get back to you. If you found the video helpful, do me a favor and click the like button because it helps me to get the video out to more people. And finally, if you want to keep up with the most up-to-date and newest flashlight reviews, make sure you subscribe. Alright, we've got the Convoy T3 with the CSLNM1. Okay, I'm just going to show you the 4 modes. So that's the lowest mode. Okay, I've got 4 modes basically on here. I've selected that. So first step, there's 12 other mode groupings that you can look up and change as well. But I think this is the most versatile. Second step. Okay. So impressive for just a little pocketable flashlight, little AA pocketable flashlight. Even on that second mode, look at that. Okay, third mode. And that third mode is good enough just to reach the back of those trees, just to tint them. That's about it, but you can see into that field. And the NM1 has really just found an absolutely perfect little house here. Okay, the fourth step, sorry. You can illuminate the trunk of those trees. You see a little bit of detail as well in there. Okay. You do need to step it up a bit to get any significant spill. I mean, all the lumen just focused down the center, and it's only 1.5 amps, so you don't get all too much heat, which is good. For a small host like this, you wouldn't want too much. You wouldn't want this thing to get too hot, especially because it's titanium. But it works as a really nice little spotlight in your pocket, and you just wouldn't believe something as small as this could throw this far. Very impressive. If you're into these little pocket throwers, I love them, and I just like how efficient they are, how impressive they are. There's a long distance performance, and good thing is that this one doesn't step down until over 2 minutes, which is quite impressive for a little light like this. Convoy T3 here, and we're going to start off on the lowest mode. Flip it over to the lowest mode here, and you know, you can see it is pretty okay for using up close. Maybe a few meters, that's about it. Looking into your bag, basic stuff. Okay, flip it up to the second mode and you can see this is much better. You can even spot this tree right in the center here, follow it all the way up in the branches. Okay, I'd say even at this second mode in very low light conditions, and this isn't a very low light condition as well, you can see there's lots of ambient lighting around. Okay, but you can still see the hot spot there. The spill is not showing up so well on camera, but I think it's decent enough. And the third mode here,
The second and third mode, I think those would be perfect for a general walking light. And I know people don't like using these throwy LEDs and throwy hosts for walking around and stuff like that, but I really think on the second and third mode, that's pretty good, because apart from having enough spill, you can also see into the distance if you need to spot something. You can see the little clearing in the trees over there. Okay, this is the fourth mode, and this is really quite good. I mean, you can see the spill there on the ground. It's not super bright, but I mean, the throw on this thing is incredible. For such a little light, it just, you know, it really owes it to the smooth reflector and that NM1, you know, that maximum amount of throw in. I'll go for a little stroll so you can see what it looks like, and it doesn't step down until a little while. Convoy T3. This is on the lowest mode. You can sort of see it in the ground in front here, but not too much. Second step. Good enough to really see a little section that you carve out. Third step. Okay, now the spill is pretty good, especially because there's a lot of ambient light in here. You can see almost down the end, almost right down the end of the walkway, it's hitting those little poles at the end and reflecting some light. Okay, but this is the highest mode, the fourth step, and it is easily hitting those trees right out in the back. Right in the back there. Super impressive for just a little pocket flashlight like this. Great for spotting, and it doesn't step down for a while as well, because you're only running it at about 1.5 amps, so it stays, you know, a little warm to the touch, but that's pretty much it. Convoy T3, and here's the lowest mode. It's got this on the 4, just basically 4 brightness setting mode. So first step, you know, first step is really, it's okay for a very short range, maybe if you're looking in your bag or something like that. Okay, second step, now the spill's a lot better, but you know, it's quite minimal, especially because there's a bit of ambient light here. But incredibly, you can still see it light up the back of that little waterfall there. Look at that, just in that second mode there. Okay, third mode, now this is probably, I would say, a good balance between throw, and you can still use it as a walking light, because up close it's not creating a hot spot that's too intense. Okay, that fourth mode here is a bit too much when using it really up close. It's still doable though, because it's only at 1.5 amps, even on that 100% mode. So I'll go for a little stroll and just see how the beam profile looks. Convoy T3, quick little throw test. That's on first step, second step, third, and fourth. Wow. Very impressive thrower. There's not a whole lot of spill, but the concentration of light right at the end is very impressive. Quite easily able to make it through the water as well. Go over this other side. Let's have a look. It's on the third setting. Fourth. You can really see through that water all the way to the back there. Impressive. Underneath the bridge, the walkway, I guess, there.